What's going on? Also, look at this. You got this green. You got green. You got blue. You got red. It's almost like purple violet color. But you got this oily rainbow color effect going on, which is like, look, there's the rainbow from light, right? But there's another rainbow color, which comes from like certain compounds like oil, gasoline. Also, if you go and find bogs, you'll have this kind of iron oxide bacteria that makes this red, rusty looking color. And it kind of emits the oily rainbow too. So, ooh, just heard. Wow, that is really weird. Really weird. See, this thing is even in the same exact spot. Like, it's been stuck there. And here's the shadow thing. You can still see it. It's like still looks like a big giant like square net or something. Like, look at that. There's actually a line right here, dude. You can see it. Look, dude. It's like really weird. Like almost like, look, like that's a cloaked craft. Like, look, like Independence Day. Look at this thing. See, it's weird. You got this bright one, and it's almost the same shape as the shadow. So you got the bright here and a shadow here. Like, not sure how they're creating this. I'm not sure what effect that is, but I've seen them do these chemtrails where somehow they can switch the chemtrail. It'll be white, and then they can switch it, and it'll turn into a shadow. And it won't look white. So it's like almost like pictures, like photographs, negatives, the negative print and the color, like on photos. And it's really weird too. You know, like I was talking about blue beam. And look funny, we got this blue beam looking thing going on right here. But anyway, look, I think they've actually tried blue beam, like for real. And they did it. It's called the Fatima event. And they said they saw the Virgin Mary in the sun or in the sky. And it's like, basically, I mean, this is all old freaking Cold War propaganda schemes to foster patriotism and support from the public, to trick the public into complying with the whatever their goal objective is. Well, we already know what that is. It's the NWO, 1,000 points a lat. Ordo ab KO, Albert Pike, freaking plan. But since I was seeing the blue and the red freaking, the blue and the red is like, it is the same exact color as the freaking 3D glasses. And it's like, it looks like they're trying to get the sky the right color for that blue and red that it takes to create holograms, like to make 3D movies and stuff like that. So the stuff's all connected, man. Like this stuff going on, and it's like, it's not natural. It wasn't happening before. Or, I mean, if is something that's coming from independent of us, it's not normal. Because natural is something that happens on its own, automatic, without our assistance. Like, kind of like seeds, you know, they fall. You know, we can pick up them seeds and put them in a pot for ourselves and, like, water it and put it in the favorable conditions, it'll grow. But also, if it just falls out of the tree and lays on the ground long enough, once the conditions come about that are correct, it will spring into action automatically on its own. It's kind of what's going on in life, you know. They kind of trick us into thinking that somehow we have some kind of say in it, when it's like, ultimately, it'll go on without us. So we're allowed to have a little degree of control or like choice and you can intervene, but ultimately it's totally it's out of our control, you know. That's the thing. But they try to trick us somehow into thinking like, look, it's a manipulation tactic. They want you to feel guilty for something that you didn't do. It's kind of like, you know, with this whole, oh, the world's overpopulated, we need to act now and kill all the Jews now kind of mentality. We need to kill them Jews before they start getting overpopulating. You know, and I realize, you know, like as far as genetics, man, that is a bunk. That's a bunk cop out that people have used for a long time to basically just discriminate on different races of people. I mean, that's how it was in its foundation, and it's still the way it's used now. But it's like it's just behavior. It's from this programming, dude. The abuse and the neglect, which is abuse. Listen, for someone to walk around and criticize you all the time, you're getting attention from that person. It's just evil attention. And for you to ignore somebody too much is the lack of attention. And both things destroy people, man. And give them complexes, dude, and just give them wounds, man, that you can't see. The scars in their head and in their heart that you can't see. And then you want to blame them and blame it on genetics. When no, it was like it's abuse. Either it was from their parents, but everyone's abused by society. So it's like, look, yes, it is partially their fault, but it's also these conditions of society have these expectations and all these like, they set us up for failure in so many ways. Like, it's the system's rigged where the house always wins, where you don't go up unless there's a freaking some kind of like meeting and a council and a vote, and it's beneficial for their goals. They might let you prosper a little bit if you are a useful idiot to what they're doing. And no one really gets in any kind of good with the world without such a kind of compromise, man. And there's a point where they'll let you play ignorantly along, but there's a point where they're going to let you know, and they're going to tell you like the truth of the matter, and that's your time to grow a conscience now, or, you know, just shut up and take your money like the rest of them have done, kind of like in They Live, you know, where the sellouts, the sellouts, like what my dude called them, man, he called them beta sellouts. These beta sellouts fucking like help the man look, keep his iron fist grip over us commoners. So it's kind of like the house Negro, as Malcolm X described it, versus the field Negro. And dude, look, the whole society is built also on this Willie Lynch, which means it's like gangs, okay? The Mexican gangs, the Southers and the Norteños or whatever. Look, it's like, and I want to also add this point: Northern, Southern Israel in the Bible, the Northern Kingdom, the 10 lost tribes versus Judah. Look, it's like it's the same schematic. Even in America, there was the North versus the South in the Civil War. But it's like this Willie Lynch that we get in these gangs, right? As like for protection against, we need protection from them MS-13 members, so I'm going to join the KKK. You know what I'm saying? Like, or we got to join the Nazis, or these frickin' Mexican immigrants are going to overrun and take all of our women and our jobs. I mean, dude, do you know how cowardly you sound when you say stuff like that? Like, if they're that bad, they're not going to, if you're that good, who cares what anyone else does? Look, we're only supposed to have one wife anyway, so it's like, look, what you saving all these women for? What, your harem? You know what I'm saying? But it's like the gangs, the Bloods and Crips, they're primarily black people, and they're protection against other blacks. And the only one that doesn't fight each other is the KKK and the Nazis. But in all actuality, these people hate white people too. The white people who don't assign to their ideology, they hate them, and they would kill them and get rid of them. They call them a collaborator or a traitor to their race, shit like that. I mean, and they're Willie Lynch too. Willie Lynch is so evil that even the people who are serving it willingly lynched. Look, they can't see that it's really you hating you, man. All these things, man, really boil down to that. Like, whether you take it from the black angle, the Mexican angle, the white angle, or even you could say even Muslims. These are Middle Easterns. Muslims are just a gang, just like the Catholics, man, and the frickin' Templars. They were just a gang, and they had that mentality, this kind of corporation kind of mentality. That's what all gangs are, is corporations and what am I looking for? Pyramid schemes, all of them, dude. Frickin'. And you don't see who you really serve. It's like the people who made all these different gangs and these different sects, even like in religion. Like, look, ISIS is the Virgin Mary. So these guys named ISIS who are supposedly fighting the Templars, the Crusaders, which are the European, Anglo-European armies, and then the Americans, who are kind of like Babylonian in the sense that we have all this Tower of Babylonian, where we have this melting pot. So you got all kinds of, they're sending all these race gang haters to the Muslim land, and it's like, look, they're basically just crusaders, dude, and they're serving the Pope. And the Pope's fucking their deity is the Virgin Mary, which is just the Queen of Heaven. And it says it right in Jeremiah that this is the evil thing. That, look, this is what the 10 tribes were banished for, was making cakes to the Queen of Heaven, which is ISIS. So it's funny for me to sit there and watch this thing where they're trying to say, we need to send these troops to fight these ISIS guys, when it's like, you guys are working for the same guy, and this is all some big fucking like manipulation where you got all these guys thinking they're against each other, but no, they just want you two to fight to the death, so you mutually destroy each other. And while this guy thinks he's just going to come in and take the world position after everyone else fights it out. No, I'm busy. Hold up. So it's like, it's a big freaking sick joke. It's a con job, dude. But unless you can read between the lines, man. I mean, because you don't even have to read into it that deep to see that point, that there's got to be some kind of hypocrisy here, and it's a setup. And it's just like the gangs, man. They're all created just like Catholicism and ISIS and these sun cults around the globe. You know what I'm saying? They're set up as Willie Lynch MK systems to control people and like really to hinder life, because the hindrances are cashola to the powers, because you can get paid. You get paid. That's how you become a politician, is because supposedly you can fix the problems. So without no problems, people aren't going to be crying or caring too much about leadership. So in order to get people hyped up, they need problems. Freaking, it's kind of like negative publicity. They need problems for support and hype. And so once they realized this, they started to do it intentionally as a control mechanism, where they create a problem. So you'll demand for who can help us, send us a hero. And then there was one already waiting. And he's been briefed on the whole script, like years in advance. He's been groomed and trained and MK brainwashed and fucking hypnotized and everything else. It's really, really, really freaking crazy.